Welcome to the second episode of The Intolerant Humanist. I am your host, Ethan Lawless, and in this episode, we're going to discuss methods for atheism. There are atheists that are super intelligent, well-educated, kind. People like Anthony Magnabosco. People like J. Mike on Talk Heathen, and people like Matt Dillahunty, Jim Burrows, Shannon Q. All of these people are highly intelligent, very well spoken, and genuinely respectful of people's beliefs. I, on the other hand, have a different flavor of atheism. And it could be called extreme. And I'm fine with that. I don't personally think any one person's avenue is better than another's. You know, people like Seth Andrews have made the argument that being abrasive isn't going to change people's minds. I'm going to disagree. It may not change the mind of the person I am talking to, but somebody's paying attention to that conversation. They recognize my passion. They recognize my anger and the fact that I personally think an angry atheist is justified anger, considering the damage that religion does to our society. Anger's justified. Being passionate and aggressive in this conversation, I think, is very justified. I don't think my way of doing things is better than other atheists' way of doing things. I think we all kind of fit our own niche. My heart breaks when I read stories about a 13-year-old girl who just got kicked out of her parents' home because they are evangelical Christians and they abandoned their child for their faith. My heart breaks at the idea of a child dying in agony, suffering, because their parents would rather try to faith heal and pray away things like pneumonia. My heart breaks when I read a story about a gay person or a trans person that was beat to death. My heart breaks for cisgender women who get confused for being transgender outside of a public bathroom and get beaten. My head aches when I read whatever dumb fuck bill is being introduced into Alabama's legislature regarding transgenders, regarding gay people. When I see the abuse of the freedom of religion, when I see religion become a weapon, my heart and my head ache. It hurts to see this shit. And my only response to that is to become angry about it. Because it doesn't have to be that way. We don't have to be this way. We don't have to allow this cancer to infect our society. A country's greatest hope is how educated its populace is. A country's strength comes from that. How educated it has become. America is a relatively young nation, and we have had our fair share of bullshit. From slavery to the treatment of indigenous peoples to Jim Crow laws to the fight for women's rights, the fight for LGBTQ rights. And I want you to keep in mind that the side who opposed these things was the religious side of things. Religion opposed ending slavery. Religion opposed ending Jim Crow. Religion opposed women's rights to vote and own property. The ugliest parts of American history are directly, we can blame religion, Christianity, directly for those things. As the more educated we are about our history, about social situations, about doing the right thing for the right reasons, the better our society will become. The more connected we will feel to each other. Religion's answer to absolutely everything is wrong. Provably wrong. I was having a conversation in the comment section of the TikTok video about statistics and who controls them. My position is neutral. Statistics are based on math. You have a school district in a red county, Republican conservative. That school district votes to install an abstinence-only sex education program. Why? Because the conversation of sex, one, from the Christian perspective, is immoral. And two, it makes people uncomfortable to have age-appropriate, comprehensive sex education. So, this school district does this for 30 years. Local hospitals, local abortion clinics, report different things that go on in their businesses. Hospitals report pregnancies, teen-related pregnancies. Abortion clinics report abortions. Clinics also report not specifics, but individual. Obviously, your autonomy. They can't just report, oh, so-and-so's name and social security number came in with this ailment. That's not how it works. Here's the quarterly report on how many pregnancies we had. Here's how old these people were. That kind of stuff. They don't give specifics about like name and nothing like that. But those statistics add up over time, right? So, after 30 years of having abstinence-only sex education, we now can prove that that school district has a higher rate of unwanted teen pregnancies and STDs. Why? They're not being taught the consequences to action. They're just being told, don't have sex. That's it. Don't think about it. Don't have sex. Fight every instinct you have. Don't worry about the consequences, because if you just don't have sex, you don't have to deal with it. This is the same logic applied to the prohibition, the war on drugs. It's the same logic being applied to abortion right now. It's broken logic. It doesn't work. Banning something does not stop that something. And in fact, most cases, it makes it worse. You go to a school district that is relatively blue and has a age-appropriate, comprehensive sex education program. They have lower rates of unwanted teen pregnancies and STDs. This by itself proves that being educated on a subject is better by far than not being educated on a subject. And so when I say things like Christianity breeds ignorance, this is what I'm talking about. They actively set out to stop children from learning about the consequence of a given action. And if it's not in the name of their religion, then it's in the name of their politics. They want to own the libtards, whatever the hell that is. So instead of doing things for the right reasons, uneducated, ignorant people do things for horrible, stupid fucking reasons. And I'm not going to be polite about that. I'm not going to hold back on that. Because that has real world consequences. People suffer because of that concept, because of that ideology, that way of thinking. And while appealing to a person's logic is a way to change their mind, so is shame. Shame is a very valid tool. And that's my position. I will share with you my anger and my passion. And I will shame people for doing stupid shit when they know for a fact that there's a better way to do it. They're clinging to tradition. As a result of the way I present my atheism and anti-theism, my aggressiveness, my anger, my tendencies to use foul fucking language, I'm a pariah in the atheist community. Not very many people want to work with me, invite me into their shows or their podcasts. I've had a few. But I'm a difficult person to get along with, so I'm kind of on the edge, on the outskirts of the atheist movement. But I know for a fact that there are people out there who are angry, who don't think that religion should just be forgiven for the horrible shit that it does. How many graves, mass graves, have been dug up in the last 20 years all over the world that are the direct result of the Catholic Church? More recently, how many people died from contracting COVID because of religious ideology? I'm willing to bet, and I haven't researched this, but this is just an assumption by me, and I'll freely admit it, but I'm willing to bet there was a group of people that did the same thing with the flu vaccine, and polio, and smallpox. I'm willing to bet there's been a group that was against vaccines for every major disease the United States, or the world has seen, and I bet you those groups were by and large religious. Or at the very least political conspiracy theory nonsense. Religion is toxic and harmful. Nothing of value comes from it. It may very well be a safe space for somebody. I can't deal with this life. This life is too hard. I need to have God. I need to know that there's something bigger than me. Good for you, I guess. It must be nice. You know, they say ignorance is bliss. When you bury your head in the sand, you don't have to listen to the screams of the other people around you. For all the comfort that religion would bring one person, it probably killed a number of others, or somebody else is suffering as a result of it. We, as a species, are smart enough to build a pretty solid society. And instead of doing that, we base our society on religious beliefs, greed, haves and have-nots, bottom dollar. It's fucking tragic. And it makes me angry. And I use that anger to inspire myself to make content. I was doing it on TikTok until they banned me. And I decided to start a YouTube channel and a fucking podcast. At any rate, I know that there's people out there who are angry like I am, who, again, don't think that religion should just get a pass on the bullshit that it does. And that, by all means, it needs to be hollered from the top of a mountain. Fuck your religious beliefs. fuck your offense. I don't give a fuck if it hurts your feelings. I give a fuck about the people that suffer as a result of religious indoctrination and religious belief. Purity culture, anti-science, anti-intellectual movement, anti-education. They are trying... You can look it up on Project Blitz. It's a real thing. There are political parties at work trying to strip everybody of their rights and install a Christian theocracy. That is their goal. People ask me, if you don't believe in God, why do you fight so hard against God? Well, that's right. I don't believe in God. And the reason I fight so hard against the ideology is because of how damaging it is to society. Which is what this podcast is all about. If you feel like me and you're angry and you've got some passion, or if you just want to have a regular old discussion, you can find me on this YouTube channel. I'm working on a website and a couple of other things to kind of make social media a little bit easier, so you can message me on these things. And yeah, this is the second episode of my podcast. I'm working on scripting some things and trying to make this some better content. Stick with me and it'll get better. Like and subscribe to the video, and I appreciate you. And I hope you guys have a wonderful evening.